Welcome to the Courageous Entrepreneur Show. This is the show that shares information and inspiration to help you break free from self-doubt, limiting beliefs, and disempowering patterns and break through to create the thriving, successful business you dream of and deserve. I'm your host, Winnie Anderson. The show features interviews with entrepreneurs who've overcome amazing challenges to create success on their terms and experts who share insight and practical information that can help you break free from your blocks and move forward with courage, confidence, and clarity. The show is available in both video and audio formats in a variety of platforms, including Apple Podcasts or iTunes, iHeartRadio, in the Google Play Store, on YouTube, and on my website at winnieanderson.com. If you like what you hear, I hope you'll share the show with others in your community, and I hope you'll decide to join my Courageous community. You can do that by becoming a fan of the show on my site at winnieanderson.com/fans. When you do, you'll get episodes delivered right to your inbox, along with information, tips, and resources to help you consistently move forward to reach your biggest goals. You'll discover how to position and pre-sell yourself as the unique solution provider you are, and ultimately to profit from your expertise, all while you build a business in alignment with your faith, beliefs, and values. You know, when we start our business, we get all excited and focused on things like our logo and finding the right domain name and getting a website. We join networking groups and we think about what expert title we'll give ourselves. But in reality, that's some of the last stuff that we should really be thinking about. The bigger and more important issues are, how are we going to stand out from the sea of others who do similar work that we do? Who are we going to serve, and how will we help them recognize that we can serve them and lead them to the transformation that they want to experience? That all speaks to differentiating ourselves and to communicating that differentiation to the world so we attract the right audience and repel the wrong one. That's a massively big topic to cover, and I could go on for weeks about it, frankly, but today's guest helps break it down for us. Jan Wallen helps successful people who are feeling stressed, stuck, and held back in their corporate life or job and want to trade that for the life that they've dreamed of by using her corporate freedom game plan, so they don't sacrifice their income while they make the transition from corporate employee to self-employed entrepreneur. With her up-to-date knowledge and expertise in the areas of lead generation, prospecting, social selling, and networking to acquire clients, she's been a featured contributor in major media like ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, as well as Business Insider and others. Jan is also a certified SCORE mentor and first VP at Lifetime Learning Institute at Bard College. Listen in as Jan and I discuss why differentiating ourselves is so hard to do, why niching is an important part of the differentiating process, how to bring your corporate gifts to your new business without bringing the negative crap that comes with that, the difference between a niche and an ideal client, the most important elements of an ideal client profile. As always, listen all the way to the end, where I'll share your cocktail exercise and action step for this episode. All right, so welcome, Jan. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Well, thank you so much, Winnie. I'm so glad to be here.
Through the miracle of technology, of course, as we were just talking about.
Yes.
So, Jan, let's just dive right in. We've been talking about this challenge of solo professionals with standing out, differentiating themselves, right? There are 1,000,001 consultants, 1,000,010 coaches.
Yeah,
you know, how
exactly.
do we stand out? Why do you think it is so hard for us to really differentiate ourselves?
You know, that's a really good question. It is hard. And I think part of the reason is we don't realize how important it is to differentiate ourselves and to tell people what's different about us. Part of this has been, it's changed because of the way things have changed with the internet. Sales have changed. The way buyers buy things. Clients have changed the way they do things. So now they go searching online, and we have to be able to tell them what makes us different. They don't have time to read our whole website to see if we're different from someone else's website. Like, let's say they know they want marketing consulting. They search a Google search or LinkedIn for a marketing consultant. Their website comes up and they probably have a list of 25 or 100 people to choose from. They're not going to read every website. So if we can figure out what makes us different and say that up front, it makes it a lot easier for them to choose us.
Yeah.
I also think it's hard because we're close to ourselves. We don't think about, we're a lot of us are focused on helping our clients, not thinking about ourselves and how we're different from someone else. That's another big part of it.
Yeah. That's really very, very true. I've heard Lisa Sasevich talk about how you can't see the tip of your own nose.
Yeah, that's very true.
It becomes hard for us to really even recognize that thing that we do or the way we do it is unique or even important to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? So then the other element of this is in identifying and differentiating ourselves, then of course is we're trying to reach this ideal client, right? Whether avatar, brand persona, whatever way you want to describe it, it's this niche that we're trying to talk to, right? So let's talk a little bit about, first of all, why is it so important to identify a niche to focus on? And I think it's one of those things that we cognitively know is important, but is it really? We still resist it, right? So let's talk first about why it's important.
Okay, the reason it's important is, one thing, when you have a niche, it sets you apart. The other really most important thing is it helps your clients choose you. It helps them know that you're the one they want to work with. People now want to work with experts, and they want to know, and they have a very specific challenge that they want help with. They already know what they want help with. So if it's losing weight or marketing, and they're looking for a marketing consultant or an accountant or anything like that, let's say if they're looking for a marketing consultant, they might say marketing consultant for startup because they're starting a business.
Right.
Or a marketing consultant in entertainment industry because they're in a specific industry.
Right.
If you haven't declared or chosen your niche, they're not going to find you.
Right.
And it also makes it a lot easier even at a networking meeting when you're introducing yourself and saying your elevator speech. You talk about who you work with and what you do for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Why do you think that so many people resist picking a niche? Because I can tell you, we all do it, right?
That's a really good question. I talk to people all the time about niches, and I find a lot of people think it will limit them because a niche is a narrow segment of the population. It's a group of people, segment of people to work with. And some people think everybody's their client. That's not the case. But also they think if I'm limiting to a small group of people, my business can't grow. And that's the opposite of what it is. Again, because people want to work with experts, and you can't be an expert at everything.
That's very true.
And also, I think a lot of people don't know how to choose a niche. And in my experience, the way we're taught to pick a niche is backwards. We should want to be picking a niche from the inside out, based in part on who we are and who we want to work with, not just picking a niche that's out there. I know some people, for example, who wanted to go into an online business, and they thought because they heard of all the money you can make on an online business. Now, I will say a lot of that is hype. So that's what they thought they wanted. However, it required them to be behind the computer all the time. And the person I was talking to, she's a people person. She was terribly unhappy behind the computer because she chose that niche because she thought that's what she wanted. Yeah. So you really want to choose it from who you are also.
Yeah, that's a really great point, because we're all preached to find a need and fill it.
Yes.
Right. And to
Yes.
find
Yes.
an audience who wants, and while that's important, right? And
Yes.
you want to
Yeah.
sell to people who want what
Mhm.
you offer, and that
Yes.
you do want to solve a problem for people,
Yes.
but there's this balance of what's right for you, what's genuine with you,
Yeah.
and that you are also solving a problem that people
Yes.
have and you're helping people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit about, this right way. Let's talk a little bit more about um, focusing on this and finding something that's right for you. You know, so many people leave corporate life and, you know, for whatever reason you leave, you probably fit in one of a few categories. You've
Mhm.
either been jettisoned out yourself, right? You
Mhm.
were either bought out or you were released for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Mhm.
Um, you then maybe decided you hated corporate life and you never want to go back. Totally understandable.
Yes.
Uh,
It is.
or it might have been that you wanted to go back, but you couldn't find something.
Yes. Right.
Or that you had
Right.
to, maybe you felt that something was put on your heart, some kind of calling or
Mm.
mission that you really feel
Yes.
drawn to. So then you then create this business,
Mhm.
and there's this mindset of, I hated my corporate life so much
Mhm.
that I
Yes.
never want to hear about this stuff ever
Absolutely.
again, right? So,
Yes.
I started out in human resources in corporate life, and
Oh.
telling you, please. So can you talk a little bit about that? How do you manage to bring your corporate gifts? I
Yeah.
have a friend who calls it your corporate pedigree. How do you bring your gifts over,
Yes.
but you avoid the crap how do you
Yeah.
do this?
That's a really good question. And I have to say, part of what you're talking about, I went through also, and I call it corporate hangover.
Yeah.
It's, and part of it is if you've left corporate because you felt held back or you really knew you wanted to start a business, I find a lot of people see that as that's in the past. I don't want anything to do with that. I disliked it so much. I don't want that anymore. I'm not doing that again. And so part of it, again, is finding out your niche from who you are. I work with a lot of people. I work with people who are leaving corporate or want to leave corporate. And I talk to them about their career. And fortunately, I've been able to talk to them in a way that maybe they're not so fed up yet that they can't stand it. But we talk about their career from the start, and there's a thread or a theme that goes through it. And part of what I do is identify their expertise DNA fingerprint, which is those skills, everything they have brought through from their career and want to do going forward. And if you can talk about it that way and see the theme, it doesn't seem to so much you want to leave it in the past.
Right.
I also had an interesting situation myself. I started my business. I knew I wanted to leave, and so I started my business. And after I'd done a lot of consulting and wrote a book, then I wanted to do some speaking. So I'm thinking to myself and reading Google articles, talking to people about how you start a speaking career. And I got partway into it and realized, wait a minute, I've been giving presentations for a long time to C-level executives and groups up to 110 people. I'm not a beginning speaker. I just wiped that out of my memory at first. Yeah. So then I had a different insight about it. So
that's a great example.
Yeah, right. And I think if you can see corporate as something you've done, and it's not necessarily bad, I firmly believe that everything we've ever done in life leads us to where we are right now and what we're able to do going forward. Yeah. We wouldn't be able to do what we want to do going forward if we hadn't been through whatever we had in the past. Yeah. So thinking that way about it, I think, helps also.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that you're right. Most of us, not that there aren't people who somehow get in the wrong job completely, right? We know there are people like that. But most of us, we were in jobs that leveraged great skills that we had.
Yes.
So it's not the skill, it's not doing the thing that we hate, it's that other crap that went with
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
So we have
Yes.
to constantly remind ourselves that, hey, I'm in charge here.
Yes.
I can create whatever business model I want, and I
Yes.
can leverage these great skills. There's something else that I think that you might, I'd love to get your opinion on, and it's this concept that what I did in corporate life doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
I'm now starting I'm at a clean slate, and
Yes.
who's going to hire me to do this thing that I do when I don't have any proof that I can do this thing that I can do, right?
Yes, absolutely. And you bring up something else too. I find a lot of my clients are feeling very uncomfortable because they were used to having a company behind them.
Right.
You have a title and you are so-and-so with a company, and all of a sudden you've started your own business and it's you. Sort of, you don't have that behind you. Now, when you wanted to leave corporate or did leave, you didn't want that behind, that's part of what you wanted different. So it's a very different thing to start thinking of yourself in a new way. Part of what I find really important is something I call the confidence ladder. And the confidence ladder, your confidence goes down when you're not comfortable doing something. And in other situations too, especially when you're not comfortable. So if you've left corporate and you're starting your business and you're going out to find your first client or give your first presentation or elevator speech even, you're nervous about it. And if you can do one thing successfully, like that first elevator speech, and recognize you did that, it might not have been easy or comfortable, you did it. Then that puts you up, you've taken action in the direction you want to go in. It gives you a little confidence. If you go to another networking meeting and another sales call, your confidence goes up a little more. So if you realize each step you take brings your confidence up, it's going to be a lot easier going forward.
Yeah. And
it is also a very different thing to sell yourself and your services rather than your clients. The company that if you were, one of my clients was in sales for a company and she just was having a real hard time making the shift. Now it's her services, and who's going to want them? Well, the same people who wanted them before. It's just that you're in a new situation.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting point. And I think that leads then to a lot of these misconceptions that we have about our own gifts and who wants them. And that one of the universals that I have seen and heard from solo professionals is that I understand that in theory, right? It makes sense, cognitive sense, to focus on a niche.
Yes.
But then I face this reality that I need cash.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? I've got to keep the lights on. I have to keep the internet connected, and I've got bills to pay, and I need now money is what I know one coach refers to it as. So how do you manage to balance this I need now money with, and it's not my ideal client who's coming to me with this project. So how do you balance that, do you think? How do you get past that?
Good question. One of the things I highly recommend is to have a game plan and to think it through ahead of time. Preferably if you're still in corporate, a lot of people have left already and there they are. If you can be sure that, having a plan is the best. If a client comes to you and you are in that situation, you have to have a way of deciding who you'll work with and who you won't work with.
Yeah.
And if you decide to work with someone and the primary reason is they need help and you need cash, that doesn't sit well necessarily in the way we are told we should be doing business. If that's your situation and you have found someone who needs help and they're willing to work with you, they may not be your ideal client, you want to work with them because you need the cash flow right now, decide to do that. If you decide to do that, give them 100%, the same as you would, and don't be hard on yourself.
Right.
Realize you've made a choice and a decision based on the situation.
Yeah.
And then let it go.
Yeah.
And also think ahead, maybe think ahead and figure out how much you really do need in a month for your own expenses and your business expenses. If you really lay it all out in a spreadsheet or on a piece of paper or an app, you may find out you don't really need as much as you think you do. Until you have it mapped out like that, you keep thinking, oh, I have to get money, I have to get cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. And you keep working and working and working toward cash flow and don't step back to say, okay, I have enough now to last me a month. Let me pursue my ideal clients.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. I think the other key issue is to just never stop marketing either, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because, okay, you had to take this client because you have to eat. There's no shame in that, right? So
right.
Then it's the recognition, though, that, well, if you stop marketing and don't start until you're done this project, you're just going to be back in the same hole, right? It's so easy to get stuck in that cycle.
There's this huge roller coaster. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And what I really recommend is, especially for solo entrepreneurs, block time. And people have said, oh, but I'm so busy with my project. I'm so busy with my clients. I don't have time to market. You don't have time to not market.
I agree. Yeah.
Build the time into your project. For example, if a client wants something done and you map out the project and it's going to be for 3 months, take some of the time for yourself, and maybe that makes the project 3.5 months. That's okay. That works.
Right.
So be sure to do your marketing whether you think you need to or not.
Yeah.
By the time you've finished the project and done no marketing, you're starting in a hole and you've got to get all the way up.
Yeah. Yeah. I so agree with that. And of course, learned it the hard way myself because it's so easy to get caught up in it. Really is. And it's a vicious cycle,
Absolutely.
Right? So let's, we've used the term niche, we've used the term ideal client, and both those terms are tossed about. So I really like making sure that we're clear on how we're using these terms. So let's really clarify this for people. How are you defining niche? And then can you explain the difference between a niche and an ideal client? Is a niche just a bunch of ideal clients? But is it that simple? Or what?
That's a really good question. And it's very important to be clear on it. A niche is a segment of the population. It's a group of people, preferably one you want to work with, and so you're going to be marketing to the niche of people. A niche could be business owners. That's actually way too broad.
Right.
Another niche, for example, mine are executives who are leaving corporate to start their own business. In that niche, there are my ideal clients. There are also people who are not my ideal clients. For example, one of the characteristics of my ideal client is they're action takers. They're ready, they're committed to starting their own business, and they're taking action. There are other corporate executives who feel held back that aren't ready yet, that aren't going to take action. So your niche can be made up of people who are your ideal clients and some who are not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that ideal client is that person who, it's the picture next to the word in the dictionary, right? It's the person who meets all of the items of the profile.
That's
And
right.
so I think the common way to think about that ideal client is with the demographic characteristics.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
But they're not really the most important, are they?
No, and it's interesting you're saying that, because as you're talking, I'm thinking most of the personas or avatars or the methods that they show us how to pick our niche or our ideal client, most of them talk about the demographics. Those are things you'd find in the census: age, job title, career, things like geographic area.
Right.
Also, very important characteristics for an ideal client are the psychographics. That's what's in their head.
Right.
For example, you can have someone in any niche who wants help with something, only they don't see the value in investing in it. Or they're not willing to take the action.
Right.
So what they're thinking is tremendously important to who your ideal client is.
Yeah.
That's
a really great example, because it doesn't matter what kind of textbook picture perfect person they are, if they are, especially if they are unwilling to invest in their own success, then they're not your ideal client.
They're not your ideal client. And I also have worked with people or talked with people who at first chose the wrong niche. And so how do you know it's a wrong niche? Well, they wanted to help these people, only it turned out, for example, one of them had a service that she offered, only it turned out that she was having a very difficult time getting clients because most people went to doctors to get this service.
Okay.
And it's not it wasn't medical, or it wasn't a medical service, and she didn't have to be a medical doctor to provide it. However, most people went to a doctor and doctors would not refer them to her. So that wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
And I know someone else got tangled up in a situation where people were in pain and she wanted to help and she had a way to help. And the first thing people do is go to their doctor, and then they also would ask her, do you take insurance? Well, she didn't. She's not set up. She's not set up to do that. So because the people wanted their insurance to pay, it wasn't working.
Yeah.
So it's also possible to pick a niche that's not going to work. And I mentioned before, if it requires you to be behind the computer all the time and you're a people person, that won't work.
Right. Yeah. So your own personality is part of it. It's got to fit a big part of it. Then also, I think that there are, and I am thinking of people that I know as well, and actually they're connected to healthcare too. So that's interesting. But there's an element, I think, that if you're going to have to work too hard to educate people, there's an advantage to having a healthcare professional not take insurance, right? My physical therapist doesn't take, she's private pay. She does not take insurance. And you know what? I gladly pay her. For a lot of reasons. But there's an education
you
have to provide to help people go, okay, it's actually more cost effective. I'll just pay you. And there are beliefs. Right. So if you're trying to convince people to give up a belief they have, you'll be talking all day.
Absolutely. Good point.
Yeah, those are really good points. Things
the best niche. Yeah, the best niche is one where clients realize they have the challenge and they want to solve it.
Right. Yeah, they're already educated.
They're already
gone through their own journey to the point where they know they have to get help.
Absolutely.
They're ready to get help. They might need a little bit of education about how to hire somebody. But amen. So you mentioned this picking the wrong niche and then changing a niche. How hard is that to do? Is it the equivalent of going through a rebrand as well, or is it simpler? Can you just shift gears?
That's a really good question too. And the answer is really, it depends. In some cases, it may be fine-tuning the niche to find people who are a better fit. The general area is okay, like health and wellness, for example, or a business owner, marketing, sort of a large field. Maybe it's fine-tuning who the actual client is and what the challenges are that they have. That doesn't have to be a complete rebrand. What I recommend people do is make some phone calls to their potential clients and their current clients to find out, why did you choose to work with me? Why, what are some of the challenges that you've been glad that we've solved, so that you have that part of it. Also, if you're completely changing, I had a situation with myself where I was doing something for a long time, written a couple of books on it and doing this for a long time. And then I found I wasn't challenged myself. So I wanted to do something that would have a bigger impact on people and also call on my challenges more. So I decided to change what I was doing. And I started telling people, oh, I'm doing something different now. And they'd say, oh, really? What are you doing? And I'd explain to them. And then they'd say, oh, well, now can I ask you a question about your previous business? Well, so I found people don't want you to change.
Right.
That's human nature. They don't want you to change. And so in my case, I've done a complete rebranding, because it really is different people and I'm helping them in a different area. I would look first, if someone's in a situation and they're not sure that their niche is working, see about fine-tuning it first.
Yeah. Don't
think you have to just completely toss it and start over.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And I think a lot of times it can be done, and I don't want to minimize the challenge of this, because often we do need help getting through this process. Yes. But often it's a matter of just getting more clarity. And you Absolutely. Make a really good point about using the right language and really get educated about the language that the target uses as well. So that's really great. So, okay, let's do a real clear thinking of the elements that you need to choose the right niche, right? So one is you start with yourself first.
Yes.
What would be number two?
Number two would be who do you want to help? I would start with, who do you want to work with? Who do you want to help? And what situation have you been through? What challenges and situation have you yourself been through that these other people would find value and help with? Right. A lot of times our best clients we've been through the same thing our clients want to go through. In fact, they want to work with someone who's already solved that challenge. Right. So those would be the three I would say.
Okay. Yeah. And that's a great example. We often don't want to talk about our wounds or our mistakes, yes. Our challenges, right? But that's really the street cred that gets you in the conversation, because I don't want diet tips from Cindy Crawford, right? Or Kate Moss. I want diet tips from, Jennifer Hudson or Marie Osmond, or somebody who I know has struggled
with it. That's
and
right.
who's overcome, and I want tips from that person. I don't want to, if you're somebody who's always been skinny and you want to hear how to always be skinny, well then talk to Cindy Crawford, but not, that's not who I'm looking for. Right. Yeah, exactly. So I do think that those are really good points. So then let's talk about, I was just in a workshop with clients of my own, and we were talking about business model, and that business model, it's a lot more complicated than any of us think it is initially, and it doesn't always stay the same. So can you talk a little bit about what this element of a business model, how important is it, and how does it fit with your niche?
Yeah, your business model is really how you do business and how you earn your income. And when you're creating the life you want to live with your business that you're creating, because you want your business to be around who you really are, and you're designing it to live the life you want to live, your business model, the best way is to have it fit you also. For example, it can be made up of a number of components. Let's say a consultant. A consultant could work on site at the client site, or off-site, or a combination of both. Could also do a lot of speaking, could also do a lot of traveling, maybe the speaking circuit, or simply a lot of traveling. Someone might really want to do the on-site, out there, traveling, speaking, and someone else, for example, she doesn't want that. She wants her perfect business for her perfect life is for clients to come to her. So she has a location and they come to her.
Right.
So thinking about what you really want and how you want to live your life is really important. And I would say think it through to the point if you want some travel, some speaking, and some consulting at the client site, and also some time in your office, think about what percentage. How much of your time over a year do you want to travel? 25%, 50%, and then build that into the way you do your business.
Yeah, great points. Absolutely great points. So Jan, I know you've been doing this for a while.
Yes.
Why don't we'll give you a chance actually to explain what you do in just a second, but if you had it all to do over again, what's one thing that you know now that you wish you knew then when you started?
Oh, well, actually, I thought of three things. One thing particularly is I wished I'd really realized my own expertise DNA a lot earlier. I'm a designer. And I design game plans, and I've designed project plans and marketing plans. I'm realizing that now, and I've always done the design when I'm working with my clients. However, I've then extended it and done more of the direct work also.
Okay.
And now that the designer part is really, really important. And I also wished I'd realized that how important it is to sort of break out of that corporate personality or way you thought you had to be in corporate. And for example, we learn skills in corporate in order to move up the corporate ladder, to get the promotion, to get the raises. We do things the way we must to do that. And those were our goals at the time, so that's fine. And also, if you're giving a presentation, you wouldn't give one unless you're 110% prepared.
Right.
All eyes are on you. You're the expert. And I really wish I'd realized a little earlier on how important it is to bring your own personality in. That's what people really want. You are who you are. Corporate helped you get where you are. However, bring your personality out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's because that's the freedom.
Oh, yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the real freedom of being out on your own. There's no more, Brene Brown talks about authenticity and how it's a choice moment to moment.
Yes.
And how, many times do we have to show up in corporate life and we can't be our authentic selves because we'll be fired.
Exactly.
You can't tell the boss, that's the dumbest idea I've heard today. You have to
when you're in corporate or in a job, you must conform to the way things are done.
Right.
If you want to stay there.
Right.
And then what that means is you're shifting for your own business. That's like you're the one designing your business. Your way is the best way. And that's not necessarily an easy shift to get over.
It's not. Because you've suppressed that for so long, decades.
That's right.
For many of us.
Exactly.
So it can be a lot harder than you think.
It's conditioning to do what you're used to doing.
Yeah. It's just a deep pattern. That's awesome. Jan, really great information. Can you share exactly what it is that you do help people with? You've mentioned a couple of things here, the fingerprint, the DNA thing. Can you share what you do and then tell everybody where they can go to learn more and connect with you?
Absolutely. I help executives who feel held back in corporate or in their job design a game plan to leave and then start their own business. And once we get that, what that means is they eliminate or avoid the gap that often happens in the first 2 years of business where you have no clients and little revenue.
Right.
So we basically get the game plan set up and their business set up with their expertise DNA, the packages they're going to offer, the pricing. So when they leave, they're ready to go out and start getting clients.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So where can people go to learn more about you and to connect with you?
Go to my website, www.janwallen.com. That's JANWALLEN.com. Especially take a look at my blog. You'll see the blog tab and read about standing out with your niche and also curing corporate hangover. Especially read one of the articles go all the way down to the bottom, there's always a free worksheet in my blog posts. And that's a way of taking what you learned in the article and applying it to yourself and your business.
Outstanding. Excellent. Of course, we'll have links to everything, as well as Jan's links on social media, so you can get all of those and access them through the show notes. And Jan, it's been fantastic talking to you. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure, Winnie. Thanks so much.
All right, I hope you found that interesting and helpful. If you like this episode, please share it with your connections. Please leave a great review for it on the platform where you consumed it, and be sure to subscribe on that specific platform like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play, or you can also subscribe to the video version on my channel on YouTube. When you subscribe on my website at winnieanderson.com/fans, though, you'll get episodes emailed to you each week along with information, tips, and resources to help you come out of hiding, get your message out in a more powerful way, and achieve your business goals so you can profit from your expertise. All right, so your cocktail exercise, otherwise known as a reflection exercise. No alcohol needs to be involved. Don't overindulge and don't drink and drive. All right, so we cognitively know that having a clear niche is what we need to have, but the lizard part of our brain that's fearful is frankly afraid that narrowing our focus is actually going to limit us. But I think about this the way doctors do, right? They really get the whole niching thing. There are lots of doctors who are general practitioners in every city, right? But when you have something wrong, something uniquely wrong with you, you want a specialist. And being a specialist then gives you permission to filter out all the other stuff and go an inch wide and a mile deep in your own knowledge and expertise, which then attracts the unique person who has just that problem that you solve and who wants their problem solved in the unique way that you solve it. You know, I think of this as, you know, with my own health. I have a general practitioner, right? I have to have a general practitioner. But when I have a physical issue, I go right to my physical therapist. She's a doctor, and I know she's going to solve my problem. I have a family history of heart disease. So when I experience chest pain, I want a cardiologist, right? I want somebody who really is an expert and who understands me. My gynecologist is somebody who specializes in midlife female pelvic problems, right? Well, I want somebody like that, right? So we want other people to be able to say, I want you. You're the only person who can help me. So that's why you want to focus on a specific niche, and it also gives you permission, like I said, to filter out all the other stuff and really be the true expert in that subject. And again, when you think about doctors, the GP needs to have all this general knowledge, and there's only a certain level of depth that person is going to be able to go in. But the expert, they can really go as deep as they like because, and I like that mental picture of an inch wide and a mile deep, because they can really go into a deep dive in just that specialty area, and they're going to operate in a much more profitable way because they're only focusing on that specific area. All right, so your reflection exercise then is to really think about this general topic. Think about how have you been trying to do too much, right? How can you give yourself permission to narrow your focus? What would be the core subject that you want to focus on, or the core solution that you want to provide? All right, so now your action step. Like most of these, that I tend to share, this is technically more than one step, but you get the point. So your action step is to map out who you're meant to talk to and work with. And you do this by letting the niche grow out of you. It's not there are lots of people who say, oh, you got to find this market that wants what you have, and these are the profitable segments to go after. That's not you. If you're a service provider like I am, you're driven by the service that you want to share, the transformation that you really want to help people have. And that comes outside of you, right? When you think of ourselves, we're seeds. We start out as seeds, and everything we have for success and for life grows out of that seed. So same thing here. So the niche grows out of you by being who you are and crafting messages that resonate with that, and that then therefore resonate with the right audience. So you can carve out that niche and attract the niche by having that grow out of you. So your action step then is to really map out everything about you that relates to the work you do. Identify the challenges that you face and overcome to reach the knowledge that you've acquired and to come to the solution that you've created. Your niche is a group that wants the outcome you offer and who can relate to the obstacles that you've overcome. Your path gives you credibility in their eyes, and it gives you then the authority to lead them. Authority is something that others give you. Right? You can have that authority that comes with your official position, right? But the greatest power and authority comes out of what people project onto you based on your experiences and what you bring to it. So it's in your wounds, it's in the mistakes you've made, and I put mistakes in air quotes, it's in your failures. Your niche is also those who then relate to you and who want what you have and want what you offer. They want the outcome that you offer in the way that only you can deliver it. So remember, your ideal client is different from your niche, and it's often easier to identify the niche first, in my opinion, right? Because it's a bigger segment of the population. So your ideal client is a representative person within the niche. Now, I've got a worksheet for this episode that can help you step through and think through this process. So to get that, you can go over to winnieanderson.com/niche, and that's NICHE. Okay, winnieanderson.com/niche. If you're an introverted solo professional or someone with introverted leanings and you're ready to get the support that you need to reach your business development goals as part of a community of like-minded and like personality professionals, then head over to winnieanderson.com/join the lab and join my Facebook group, The Courageous Entrepreneur Lab. That's my online home for sharing information, tips, resources, and mini trainings to help you stand out as the trusted authority and thought leader that you are. And that's my online home for sharing information, tips, resources, and mini trainings to help you stand out as the trusted authority and thought leader in your space. Thanks for listening. And remember, you deserve all the success you dream of.